Hi, I'm Ezina, and you are watching Vib3sTV, music for the masses.
All right, so tell me about the process of even getting started on this album. How long have you been working on it?
I've been working on it about 5 years, and I know that sounds like an eternity, but something happened in my life, and I started writing female empowerment songs. And at the time I was writing them, they seemed kind of hokey because no one else was kind of, writing anything like that. They were writing, he done me wrong songs and, bump and grind and all that. And Lady Gaga was, talking about I'm born this way,
Okay.
So it wasn't really the musical atmosphere for a Glambitious type project. So I wrote the songs and put them kind of to the side and was just waiting for the right moment to launch them out into the world.
When did it really start? When were you like, I'm gonna put these songs together and I'm gonna go record it and kind of do this whole thing?
I recorded the album a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And since that time, the Me Too thing, the movement has started and just so much is happening in the media. We had a female running for president, and there was just so much going on in the world that I felt like now is the time to really release it. I feel like people are more receptive to the idea, and women especially are more receptive to the idea.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes as women, we're just so busy, chugging along, we're not really thinking about, the waves that we're parting in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I think sometimes it is like you need some of those kind of empowering songs of like, I'm a badass,
right?
Or like things like that, because you a lot of times when you listen to music, you have these moods. If you got cheated on, you have these songs of like screw guys or da da da.
Right.
And now you need those songs to cheer you on and to push you on and to make you feel like you can conquer the world.
Absolutely, and I just wanted a soundtrack for myself. Like, you're an entrepreneur, and you have these projects that you're working on, and every project has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
And it's in those down moments when you're like, oh, should I just give this up? Is this a stupid idea? Should I keep going? It's those times when you really need the motivation. And I found myself putting together a soundtrack of songs that could just pump me up, when I'm working out, when I'm hitting that last mile and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really could use a cappuccino right now instead of running another mile, as I'm jogging past, Coffee Bean or whatever. It's that kind of thing that you put in your playlist and you just go for it. Or when you're working on, a deadline and you're like, oh my God, I got to get this dissertation done so that I can, get my degree. It's all those times when we're like really starting to doubt ourselves that I feel we really need motivation. I'm providing music.
Which reminds me of like, a lot of guys that I know, if to pump themselves up, they watch like speeches from like coaches.
Absolutely.
Like, it's your pregame,
it's
like
so
coach
true.
speech.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because my husband is a huge sports fan. And there's this one speech by this guy, and it like always gets him all choked up.
Is it in the locker room?
Yes. And I'm just like, what is it about that? And I said, okay, guys have that whole thing. Women, we need our things because we like to dance and we like music. And, I just wanted to put together a female-centric, pumped up kind of playlist.
You know what? It reminds me of like, when you're in a club or you're in a bathroom with drunk girls, drunk girls are always going to be your best friends.
Absolutely.
They're the nicest people in the world. And it's that kind of soundtrack where it's just like this drunk girl who just loves you and is going to like support you no matter what and take care of you.
Hold your hair, and she's going to call you an Uber, and she's going to be there tomorrow.
It's the best thing. Like, I don't think guys ever understand, like, when it comes to women bringing other women up.
Yes.
Like, that's the
Absolutely. That's it exactly. And I just wanted to create that in musical form. And, and I played the album for my husband, and he was like, yeah, I like it. And I was like, I don't really care if you like it because it's not for you.
Okay, so you have to tell me about your friend Tina.
Okay, so I have this girlfriend, one of my very good friends. She's a comedian named Tina Kim. And Tina, Kim, and I would go all over New York City. You know, we'd be clubbing, we'd go everywhere. And I don't drink, so I was the drink holder, I was the hair holder, and I was the wing woman. So we had so much fun going all over the city, you know, and like you said, the drunk girls, and you go in the bathroom and everybody's hugging and we love everybody, you know, and it's like, oh, you got to come over to my house tomorrow for lunch or whatever. You know?
You make the grandest plans. I grew up in Vegas, and so I used to club out in Vegas a lot, and so they would have these bathrooms and a lot of like really big couches or something for you to chill out on. And oh my God, you'd be like, we're going to Coachella together next summer, and and I'm like, yes, it's happening. But you don't remember their name, you don't remember anything, but then you like tag them on Instagram, and then you become friends.
Exactly.
And then you just stalk them on Instagram and never talk again. But for those like few minutes,
for those few
you
minutes,
were best friends.
You were BFFs to the end. You were ride or die for those few minutes.
Oh yeah, no matter what, they are the best looking. It's the greatest thing in the world. I feel like that's one thing that guys will never get.
No, they won't.
Because they'll be like, what were you doing for 30 minutes in there?
Right.
You just don't get it.
Yeah, just girl stuff.
I love that. That's amazing.
It is. And I think that's the power of women, you know, that we're so willing to, I mean, we love so easily, you know, and women support each other so easily, which I love. And, you know, putting together this project, there were a lot of incredible women that came on board in one phase or another. And I just feel really proud of the fact that not only is this a great project that we put together from beginning to end, I played it for all my girlfriends and they played it for all their girlfriends and they're like, yes, this is it. And I love that, and I just wanted that spirit, that female spirit of women who come together and support each other. And I always look at Oprah and Gail. You know, they're two totally different trajectories, but yet somehow they have this friendship, this bond. And I have that with a few of my girlfriends as well, and I just feel like that's so important for women who are out there kicking butt and taking names, you know.
Yeah. You
got to have your support system.
Yeah.
And I don't see it for men as well, because men, they have this whole, I don't know, it's kind of an old boys thing that's kind of been around for a long time, and this is kind of new for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of new. So I thought I would put together this book. And the book is funny because some of it is what I've noticed from the other men in my life. You know, they go to the golf course and, you know, they're best buddies and they're doing business and they're doing this. And, you know, women, we lunch, but when we lunch, we're not really doing business. You know, we're talking about dieting and, you know, guys and whatever else. We're not always necessarily thinking about, oh, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And how can you help me? And, okay, let's do this. And who do you know? And who do I know? And, you know, we don't really get in there and during our lunches and really dig through our databases to see how we can help each other. And even volunteering yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like saying, well, me, why not me? You know, and not feeling like, I think there's this old Puritan idea that women aren't supposed to promote themselves. And I find that so much with so many women that I meet. You know, they'll promote other people, but you have to dig to find out that they are doing a feature film and doing all this other stuff, and you know, it's like, oh, well, I can help you.
And then on the other side, it's also hard when someone, you know, tells you like, hey, you know, if you need help, let me know, and then for us to know and actually go and ask them, because you're like, oh, you know, so and so does this thing or whatever, and you're like, well, I know, but like, can I ask for a favor? Or it's still so new for us to do. Whereas for men, it's just, oh yeah, we'll just give them a call.
It's so true. I've gone to so many networking events and I'll come back with business cards and I'm like, oh, I want to call this person, this person, this person. And I'm all excited and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be too aggressive.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, you know, even with as much headway as we're making as women, it's still that line that you feel like is there of, where do I cross between being ambitious but not too aggressive?
Absolutely. And
promoting myself to get out there, but then also not being obnoxiously just self-promoting.
Exactly, and men have none of those thoughts or conversations ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not part of their DNA because they're, you know, they have so many years of working on self-promotion and building businesses and that sort of thing. It's been taught to them for so many years, and for women it's just still new.
Yeah.
So I thought it was important to write the book, to put it together, you know, learning what I've learned from, you know, the men that I've been around in business, and also learning from very successful women who have been able to, you know, do both and still maintain their femininity and still, you know, build 7-figure businesses.
Yeah.
So, you know, I talk about networking in there, how to do it, how to not be obnoxious, you know, how to find other women in your community, how to ask for help, how to ask people to mentor you, you know, and just really get out there and kick ass. Oh, can I say that?
You can say anything you want.
Okay.
But it's kicking ass, but it's also, you know, taking, I feel like what you're saying of like taking charge of it and not feeling like you're taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. People can say no. They have the right to say no. It's a complete sentence. And just be confident and ask people for what you need, you know, like...
Not be embarrassed by
Not
it.
be embarrassed by it, exactly. You know, like I run a podcast, Guitar Goddess, and I'm always looking for female guitarists. And whenever I see a woman, you know, with the guitar, I'm usually cranking my car over to find out, you know, who they are and where they're going and what they're doing, you know, and that's a little bit intrusive, you know, to do, but I do it because I feel like, how can I tell the story of female guitarist if I don't stick my neck out there and meet others? So.
Yeah, and just go out there.
And it's uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's comfortable, but I do it anyway.
But I feel like, you know, in the end, you'll feel like it's definitely really rewarding when you do that and you make a U-turn, you run into someone, and it ends up being this great connection.
Absolutely.
That you might have missed out on if you were too nervous or too scared or felt like you didn't deserve it in a way.
That's it right there, the word deserving, and that's the conversation that I think we keep having in these women's circles about, you know, the deservingness. Any of you out there, just fly your flag. You're amazing. You're awesome. Like, tell people. You know, my husband always says, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm amazing."
I love that. Why not?
You're so silly. I'm amazing. I'm awesome. Look at what I'm doing. This is fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not? And so, is that what the movie's about too?
The movie is about 3 women, and I always say, you know, it's kind of Sex in the City with less sex and more city and business. So there's 3 women, and they all have different career paths, and they work together to help each other as they go through the ups and downs and roller coasters of being in business. So it's very fun. I've rewritten it like 20 times. All the filmmakers, the screenwriters out there know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I feel like it's with any art form, you know. It's like you never know when you're actually done.
Right.
And I always think about that, like, a lot with, like, painters or something, and I'm like, so do you know when you're done? Like, how do you know when you're done? Because you're always going to look at it and be like, well, you know, or this or that, or same thing with writing.
Yeah, you're never done. I mean, even the album, I've mixed it and remixed it. Right now it's going through probably its 9th remix and its 4th producer, because, you know, that perfectionist in you comes out and you just want it to be so good. But honestly, the first version was good, and the 9th version is going to be good too. It's just, you get caught up in your feelings about it, and the ego takes over, and you can't stop.
And I bet also, you know, within, you know, the process of building this album, probably just even you've grown as a person.
Absolutely.
And so your tastes or your ideas of what you want it to be will evolve and continue to evolve.
Absolutely. You know, that's very true, you know, because when it started out, there were a lot of big power ballads, and I'm like, we don't need any more power ballads. There's a time and place for that, but for this music, I really wanted it to be movable. I wanted it to be danceable. I wanted it to be pounding, you know, and I also wanted it to be very truthful and very in your face. So lyrically, it's not, you know, Pollyanna-ish. It's very in your face, you know. Like one song is wake, pray, meditate, slay. You just get up, you wake, you pray, you meditate, and you slay. You just keep going, keep going, keep going, you know, and it's really grinding and pushing. And, you know, another song is a letter to my younger self, you know, all the things that you would tell your younger self from the knowledge that you have now. You know, when you fall, get back up, opportunity calls, pick it up, you know, just things like that, like just to remind ourselves, because we do get a lot of opportunities, and sometimes we don't always take them all because we may not feel deserving, or we may feel like, oh, that's the next step, or I'm not ready for that yet, or whatever, but you are ready when the opportunity comes to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
I know. And thank you everyone so much for watching. And if you guys want more information and to listen to her new album,
you can visit ezina.com. That's EZINA.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook and Twitter at Ezina, and Instagram and Snapchat at Ezina TV.
And when's the album coming out?
The album will be out 7/24. The album will be out 7/24.
On iTunes.
It'll be everywhere you buy music. iTunes, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you buy music around the world, you'll find it on 7/24.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are watching Vib3sTV, and I'm Aling. I will see you guys next time.